The Oklahoma City are the youngest team to win a playoff series. They already won. That was back in the day. That was a long time ago against the Pelicans. Okay, that's old news because then they just put a beat down on the Mavericks last night. So they haven't lost a playoff game yet. And then the Minnesota Timberwolves, they're 6-0 in the postseason. They swept the Suns. They're up 2-0 on the Nuggets. Two young teams, 22-year-old Anthony Edwards, the old man of the Thunder, is SGA, could probably in the conversation, well, he might be MVP of the league. I think Jokic should get it, though. But he might finish second MVP of the league. He's only 25. Terrika, what's going on with these young teams? Because we've been told the young teams aren't supposed to be able to do this at this time of year.
I love it. I love it. And I think it's one of the things that I love most is that they were built this way and the patience that it took to get them this way. When I look back over the last couple of years, it feels, and I was saying the same thing about Orlando, even though, they're no longer in the playoffs either. But I love the fact that the teams that are the teams to beat now, that are the teams that are making noise, are teams that literally got it out the mud, so to speak. They were teams that did not have large name free agents that came over and wanted to form with three other folks and have this super team vibe. No, through trades, through free agency that made sense, through drafts, through literally sucking for 2-3 years, 3-4 years, and figuring it out. And now they are where they need to be. That's the NBA I love. That's the NBA that I feel is entertaining now. Because when we talk about, no LeBron, no Steph, no KD, now no Kawhi, no all of these folks, well, we're still entertained because we love and we have grown to love the players and the stars that we're now seeing because we've seen them come up. I love to see Tyrese Halliburton. Jalen Brunson is balling. Anthony Edwards, this man is the most respectful, disrespectful man I know. And I love everything about it, right? And so
right.
I feel like that is why, why we are seeing what we're seeing, because the patience that got them there has led them to build a chemistry. They work well with each other. They know each other. It's not this constructed, supposed to be superpower that we're witnessing now. And it just makes the league so much more fun.
It does make the league more fun, and it's surprising because, like, generally, like years, you could almost write this script 5 years ago. Oklahoma City, #1 seed in the West, and you just wait for them to get toppled by a veteran team. So, like, oh yeah, young team, it's not real. That's just a regular season record, and if the Lakers. And some people probably thought that. Some people probably thought that before the playoffs started. Hey, if the Lakers get to 8 seed and they match up,
and they barely got that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good matchup if they get to 8 seed. No, they would have gotten their asses kicked by OKC. They struggled against. They kept it competitive with Denver. They would have been blown out of the gym by OKC. And so same thing with Denver. So Denver, Minnesota, defending champs, these young bucks. But Minnesota showed you last year. They played Denver tough. Yeah. They lost this year. They played them tough. They're better now than they were last year. Anthony Edwards is much better now than he was last year. Last year was pretty good. So now they're up 2-0. And Terrika, you've got the defending champs in a must-win position. They gotta win Game 3. Forget about the split in Minnesota. You've got to win Game 3 or bye-bye.
You have to.
Bye-bye.
You have to win Game 3.
Season's over. If Minnesota did this to you, and you're fortunate, because I want to get your thoughts on this. You're fortunate that, if you're from Denver's perspective, that you're playing Game 3 and you'll have Jamal Murray. Because that should have been a suspension. Sorry. He should have been suspended. You're throwing multiple items from the bench you're trying to hit the ref. like I guess his aim was off all night. Couldn't hit a shot and couldn't hit the ref. He was trying to hit the ref, and it goes onto the court. And as guys are jostling, your own teammates, by the way, guys are jostling for rebounds, you got your heating pad on the floor. Can you imagine, Jamal? You don't know what being a villain is like if that heating pad had just slipped up under Nikola Jokic.
Ooh.
You don't know what being a villain is like in your own city. If an injury, which is not, that's not a hot take. I mean, that is very possible. I was shocked that it was only a $100,000 fine and that he was not suspended for game 3. Just inexcusable and ridiculous behavior on his part.
Completely inexcusable, completely. And it's funny because at the time, the officials were like, we didn't know where it came from. Well, it's a heating pad. It can only come from one of two places. Like it can only come from one bench or the other. And it didn't come from the Timberwolves' bench. No fans got heating pads in the stands. So where do you think that it came from? Like how was this confusing? Like now you might not have known the player who threw it, but you certainly know where it came from. So that to me in itself was an interesting dynamic, but you're absolutely right. You first of all, you're a grown man, you're an adult. So I need you to understand that you can control your emotions. You're not a 4-year-old, you're not a toddler. You know how to be an adult about handling disappointment, about handling embarrassment, because that's what you were doing. You were getting embarrassed. At one point, I think it was like a 43-18 basketball game. And the thing about it is Anthony Edwards wasn't even on the court for most of that. So that was everybody else busting your ass. That wasn't even Ant-Man. That was everybody else. You know, and it is what it is. You were 9 for 32 in the series so far. You even carried your attitude over to the press conference where you didn't speak to media. And everyone knows that it is part of your responsibility as a player to speak to media post-game, whether you're upset or not. So you're being a sore loser. You're being a child. And that's not becoming of you, because I actually have a lot of respect for Jamal Murray. When I talk about some of the up-and-coming stars in this league, when I talk about people that have carried the entertainment value, Jamal Murray's one of those players. So more is expected of you. The spotlight that you're in now, you can't do that type of stuff. You're in the spotlight now where people are looking to you to be a leader. And that's just not how leaders act. So you got to figure it out. Now, I would say, because I have respect for Denver, that they won't get swept. But if they come out the way they came out in game 1 and game 2 at home in Minnesota, Minnesota is going up 4-0 on them. I am hoping that is not the case, but I mean, my goodness, a real series. It is. I am hoping, but the way that this Denver team played at home was shocking. Okay, this is a team that has won 33 games at the crib. People don't typically come into Ball Arena and lay the smack down like Minnesota did, but they had them up by 30. Like, this is a serious situation, and it can't just be Joker. You got 20 points out of Aaron Gordon, which is great, but it can't just be him. You got to have your other stars step up, and to be able to get ran up off your own home court like that, Holley, I am floored, and I have no faith. I think they got to get one. They have to get one, but this series
depends on the one, though. It's got to be, but it's got to be game. Let's say they get game 4. Okay, the dynamic has changed. Okay, you get game 4. So now what you've done is avoided a sweep. Okay, so you're down 3-0. You're down 3-0. Okay, and then you win you go back home to die. You know, you're down 3-1. And I know they've come back before. That was kind of their brand. Remember the bubble Nuggets? They were always down. They'd come back. Okay, that was who they were. That was before they were champions. Now they're champions, and they really weren't down at all last year. In their championship run, they were never down in the series.
Yeah.
And so and give them credit. I really enjoyed watching them last year, the way they played, the way they just put their mark on the game, and opponents had to adjust to them. They were never chasing anything. But now, I saw them because I watched it because, I'm sick that way. So I watched,
Same.
when it got, the game was out of hand. Some people turned off. I'm like, no, I'm staying.
Nope. Me too. I gotta watch this.
I gotta watch this whole thing. And I saw the frustration that Jamal Murray had clearly with that tossing onto the court. That was a great symbol for what Denver was going through that entire game. So let's hear from him. Let's hear from Denver, hear from Minnesota after that game, and then we'll. I want to get to something else in your feed that I'm fascinated by. Let's hear from the Nuggets and Timberwolves.
Michael, you guys trailed by as many as 32 tonight.
We did?
Yes. Did you feel like this game got away from the players mentally, and at what point did it get away?
Well, they kicked our ass. So yeah, it got away from us. We just got beat up in our building. We got embarrassed in front of our fans. The good thing is we don't play till Friday. We have a chance to kind of get away and think about what we want to do moving forward.
I do want to just shout out Jay McDaniels, man, before I get out of here. He's been phenomenal this whole playoff run and this series in particular. I think he's like a plus 51 or something, and only probably had 5 points, took 3 shots in all 2 games, and don't complain, keep guard, and keep picking up full court, and we wouldn't be the team that we are today. We wouldn't have been the team that we was in the regular season, and hopefully we can keep him out there and he keeps playing like that, man, because he's definitely the X factor of the team, and everything that he brings is we thank him so much, man. So big shout out to Jaden for sure.
For us, I think the message we want to send is that we're extremely honored and blessed that we have this opportunity to go home up 2-0, but we're humble in this approach. We understand that we put ourselves in a great position, but as great as the position we are in, it could be very bad at the end of being on our homestand. So we just got to go out there, take care of business, do what we do, play defense at a high level, and execute even at a higher level, because the defending champions, you can't give them a minute of slippage at all in the game. So we got some things to work on, things to tighten up on practice, and we got 3 days to really work on our game and work on our game plan. So to the fans, your support is super important for us to find different ways and to get that energy Friday night and Sunday. So definitely come out and support.
So look, I'm gonna say some nice things, and I'm gonna get to this feed item that just trips me out from you. Okay. So they're smart. They're shouting out the role players. Mm-hmm. They're smart. They're talking about the defending champs. We ain't talking trash. It's 2-0. We got to win 2 more games. We understand that this team is capable of winning 4 games, and they could easily beat us 4 games to 2. We understand they can win 4 in a row. So they're smart with that. Smart with saying we're gonna be humble. Okay, all good stuff. Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.